What's up, everyone? It's the Coin Gamma podcast. I don't know if I should keep calling it a podcast because we're also doing video as well, but it's Coin Gamma Show. I changed the name to Coin Gamma Show. Thanks for joining us here. Today we have no guest, it's just me. We're going to do some of these short series where we break down some of the top news in the space, top concepts. And today we have a pretty crazy story we want to get into. We want to talk about how $190 million goes missing in Canada. That's 190 million. So it's 190 and 6 zeros after that. It's a lot of money. It could get you, it could almost get you a max contract player in the NBA. But it's no matter how you look at it, it's astronomical. So there's an exchange in Canada called QuadrigaCX. QuadrigaCX. And it's a top exchange. It's probably top 2 or 3 in Canada, which is a huge crypto hotbed. Ethereum was created in Canada. There's a lot of great projects out of Canada. So Canada is a huge place that supports crypto and has been a leader in crypto. And one of the things that people like about Canada is that they have had aggressive attraction of crypto projects because they have encouraged investment. They've encouraged, they've kind of encouraged blockchain projects to be built. There are a lot of public crypto companies and things of that sort. Ethereum was created in Toronto, as I mentioned. And they kind of had somewhat of a hands-off approach to crypto. But I think this could change things. So this exchange basically lost $190 million. They are trying to figure out how to get it, but there's a lot of things that are going on. So here's the story. So their CEO went to India to open up an orphanage. And while he was in India, he died from Chron's disease. Terrible disease that affects the digestive system. But terrible for his family, terrible for him. But as a business, many businesses have CEOs that pass away, and businesses have other leaders that could step up. Right? Obviously, Apple lost Steve Jobs, and Apple's still a going concern. Businesses are built to be a going concern and last forever. But the thing is with crypto is interesting in the sense that as an individual in crypto, you're actually encouraged to be your own banker, meaning that the money, your access to your funds lives with you, right? The issue is if you have a business and you have holding people's funds, do you conduct yourself the same way? And in this case, the Quadriga organization conducted themselves as if they were individuals. So what they did was they had the funds, right? And they had all the users' funds, and they put the funds in cold storage. Cold storage is meaning that if your crypto is held offline and not connected to any internet or what have you, and you basically know the private keys, and which is basically your password that allows you to access the crypto. And this is the safest way. This keeps you away from being hacked. It keeps your funds relatively safe. But the issue is the person that knows the keys has to be alive. So if they're not alive, then your funds can go missing. So many people have lost crypto because they have lost their passwords, their keys, and their crypto is gone, right? What happens is with most crypto exchanges, some keep it in hot storage, and many of them have been hacked. There's been many crypto exchanges that have been hacked. A lot of them do things that have some combination of hot storage and cold storage, right? And so what they do is, for instance, Coinbase, or some of these other exchanges, they have a custodian or a third party. So they pay a third party to hold the crypto. Or they may use multi-sig, which is multi-signature, which means that um, the combination to the storage is actually held in multiple places. Therefore, more than one person or more than one organization has to be there to manage it, right? And so Quadriga, instead of using a custodian or third party, Quadriga decided to manage the funds themselves and have no continuity planning, right? So basically, there's one dude who runs an organization that had over $190 million of people's money, decided to just keep the keys themselves. Nobody thought like, hey, maybe somebody, the co-founder should have it, the head of security should have it. So now things are crazy. And so this has been a top news in crypto as of this week, right? And so it's one of those stories that the press loves to go and use as an example of why crypto is unsafe. And quite frankly, this kind of stuff happens too much, right? And so it's true, right? Until crypto organizations kind of improve the way that they manage the safety of their end users, people will continue to leverage these stories, right? Because if I was to lose my password at Bank of America, or if I was the only one that knew the password of Bank of America and I passed away, the holders of my estate, my wife, my future kids, my mom, my sister, my brother would be able to get in contact with Bank of America and get access to my funds. Now, if I have my crypto on cold storage and I pass away and I have not given the password to my wife, my sister, my mom, whoever, then those funds are gone forever, right? So it's a two-sided coin as far as as far as being your own bank and whether that's a good thing or not, right? Let's kind of dig into some of the articles that have come up and kind of dug into the story a bit, right? A lot of people are actually wondering whether this story is true, right? A lot of people don't know whether the person has actually died. There's been stories around, perhaps the Quadriga CEO's assuming another identity and is living in India with these funds. But because right now, the only person that people are in contact with is his widow, and she has access to a laptop that has could have some information, but it's been locked. The CEO is pretty strong when it comes to being high security, but fortunately he assumed that he was immortal, and none of us are immortal. There's two things that we have to do is pay taxes and die, right? So it's you always kind of, especially when you're dealing with other people's funds, you always have to develop insurance or build a system that could help guard against if you were to unfortunately not be here anymore. And so one of the theories is that the individual passed away. And so there's an article here from CoinDesk that breaks down how there is a government death certificate in India that collaborates with that story, right? There is, here's a copy of it, right? It kind of breaks down the person's information, the death certificate, and it confirms that the individual passed away on December 9th. Another issue that people have had issues with is the fact that he died on December 9th, but the exchange didn't go public with this news for at least for another month, if not almost 2 months. So they knew what was going on, but didn't alert the public. My assumption is that the team was probably scrambling, trying to figure out what to do because they didn't plan for this. Some larger media platforms have also picked this up, right? So The Guardian, which is a large platform in the UK, their headline is "Cryptocurrency investors locked out of 190 million after exchange founder dies." QuadrigaCX, Canada's large exchange, was unable to access the password or recovery key after their CEO Gerald Cotten died last December. So there's a lot of things going on. People are trying to figure out what's going on. There's new news that comes out every day, right? So here's an article by David Gerard, who's a crypto and blockchain blogger and researcher. Kind of breaks down some of the things that we've been following so far, right? So it's titled, QuadrigaCX crypto exchange collapse, what we know so far, right? And so on January 14th, QuadrigaCX told the world how CEO and founder Gerald Cotten had died from Crohn's disease on March 9th, right? And he jokes, remember when your bank manager died and all of a sudden your money was gone? As I mentioned with that Bank of America thing, if my banker passed away, I would be able to get my funds, right? Things are interesting. But one interesting thing to point out with Quadriga is that they've had issues with banking before, right? And so in January of 2018, the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce froze $28 million of their funds in the payment process, right? And they had some issues again in October, right? There's, another issue is the fact that this is a one-man show, right? On the 27th, what's interesting is that this individual, the CEO Cotten, he passed away in December, married a woman by the name of Jennifer Robertson in October. In November, 2 weeks before he passed away, he signed a will appointing Robertson as executor. And he didn't. Then 2 weeks later, he passes away, and now she's the only person that's in contact with everyone. And now everybody's chasing her, trying to figure out what's going on. She says that she believes it's in some different cold wallets, but she doesn't know. She doesn't know what the addresses are. So there's another article that kind of breaks it down a bit more, right? So this is on ccn.com. This title, 5 suspicious factors about Bitcoin exchange QuadrigaCX and its 150 million in missing crypto. Now there are rumors that the co-founder might be another person, an identity thief. And so they say that the person, Michael Patron may actually be Omar Denani. And so people are pontificating around that. Again, they go into the past banking problems, right? And so back in October, like I mentioned, the CIBC froze around 22 million in their funds. The bank had issues when wires were called. And then, Quadriga went to court and kind of unlocked some of that funds. People are wondering whether the 150 million in missing crypto actually exists, right? So, Taylor Monahan, who runs My Crypto, which is a crypto wallet tool or a tool for you to access your own self-managed wallets, has done some investigation work and kind of then says that, she says that there's no indication of Quadriga ever having cold reserve wallets for ETH, for Ether. And so she looks at their 3 main addresses, and she doesn't see, she sees that a lot of them are actually active, even now. So the managers of the exchanges saying that they can have no access to the wallets, but then there's funds being moved away from the wallets, right? Again, number 4 on this list is the exchange month-long silence following the founder's death. According to the death certificate, it has a misspelling of the person's name. His wife claims that he was opening an orphanage at the time. A full month went without the exchange talking about this, right? So people are questioning whether the certificate is right. He altered his will 2 weeks before his death. This is crazy. I mean, this is kind of stuff that um, we don't know what's going to happen, how this story is going to transpire. But this is, I don't know if you watched the Fire Festival documentary on Netflix and Hulu. Um, this exceeds that. There's way more money involved. You talking about deaths. You don't know whether the death is real or not. It's incredible. And Reddit, obviously, Reddit, people go crazy over Reddit, right? Reddit is always where people go first. Um, People are trying to figure out what's going on. Some people are asking, what are the cold wallet addresses? How do we get this question answered? We can't file any lawsuits. Um, uh, you know, the dogs have more money than me because he actually left $100,000 for his dog's care in his will. So there's a lot of weird things going on. And let's go to the main source, right? And so they left a message on their website. If you ever go to their website, you can't log in, can't do anything. You just see this letter up front. And so, as of today, February 5th, they say, dear customers, today an order for creditor protection in accordance with the company's Creditor Arrangement Act was issued to allow us the opportunity to resolve outstanding financial issues that have affected our ability to serve our customers, right? So basically, they've kind of went into court protection to buy themselves more time, and the court has added Ernst & Young as a monitor, as somebody, as the third independent third party to oversee the proceedings. I don't know Ernst & Young's background when it comes to this. I question whether they'll be able to manage the funds. I guess all they'll do is kind of be an extra eye to make sure that there's no funny business going on. But at the end of this, at the end of the day, it's pretty interesting. So that they have a Q&A right here that you can watch, that you can read about. But the story here is, don't leave your wallets, don't leave your crypto on exchange. So basically, the irony is what the founder of Quadriga did for all about everybody's funds is what you should do for your own funds, with the exception being you should have a continuity plan. So you should manage it. You should not leave your crypto on exchanges. Quadriga shows up. So there's been hacks. There's so many different exchanges that have issues. So you want to definitely make sure that you manage your own crypto. This space is nascent. This space is rife with issues like this. So you want to make sure you have your own crypto, but you don't want to be the only one that knows your private keys or your key phrases. And so you need to have a plan, right? So if you have a significant other, you need to have your significant other understand where to get this information if you were to unfortunately pass away. You need to potentially have a court executor. If you don't have a significant other, maybe a close family member, a friend. Obviously, you open up the risk of whoever this person is having access to your funds and potentially doing something nefarious with them. But you weigh that risk, right? Hopefully, you have somebody in your life that you can trust. But even if there is a level of lack of trust there, you have to weigh that versus the risk that if you pass away, that nobody gets anything. So it's a personal decision. But if you do decide to manage your own keys, there's many different crypto wallets out there. Here are two, right? So there's Ledger. This is the most popular, right? This is a hardware wallet, which is probably the most secure, right? It's a hardware wallet that allows you to manage it from a desktop as well as a mobile app. There's a tool called MyCrypto, right, which hooks into some different third-party wallets. They allow you to kind of send and receive different wallets. You have to make sure whatever wallet you use is actually compatible with what crypto you are trying to manage. Not every if you have an Ethereum only wallet and you trade and you send Bitcoin to it, you will lose that Bitcoin. And so you have to be very, very careful on how you manage it. Again, this is kind of stuff that is quite frankly holding the industry back. The usability. It's very, very difficult for people to be their own banks. It's very, very difficult for people to trust a third party that actually decides to manage their funds in whatever way that they want. And this is, Quadriga being a case in point, right? And so, make sure that you manage your crypto. Make sure you stay informed, and best of luck to everybody that's involved in this Quadriga situation, namely our friends in Canada. Until next time, it's CoinGam.